If you manage a call center, the remote working revolution has happened quickly, and it's happened in a way that many people did not expect. Meanwhile, there's a revolution happening in front of your eyes because the technology for remote working in call centers has gone ballistic. The fourth industrial revolution is here, and you have some massive opportunities that you can look into. Here to tell me all about this today is Marizette Topham from Euphoria. Marizette, thank you for joining me on scottkundil.com.
Scott, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, you're absolutely right. In today's remote working, call centers are really struggling, or the management of the call centers are really struggling, because they just don't have that bird's eye view of what is currently happening with their staff. Are they taking calls? Are they dealing with those calls correctly? Are they efficient? Are they giving the customer service that is really needed to their customer base, to make sure that they actually hold on to those customers and they don't just go to someone else?
So I've seen this happen in real time. I phone my bank and I get that pre-recorded message, which has now changed, saying, because of COVID, unfortunately, it might take a bit longer to answer your call. Now, this is obviously affecting customer service because you don't want this for your customers. Tell us a little bit about what clients can do from a technology perspective to allow the customer service to be maintained.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I get that all the time as well. And it's so frustrating for, from a customer side of view, because they just they're not getting the service. So what people can actually do to alleviate or to actually assist with getting those calls answered and getting through to the correct people is by implementing, cloud systems, first of all, which allows a lot of freedom with remote working, because you can monitor it online. You don't have to, like in the olden days with the legacy systems, walk through, the desks to make sure that people are working. You can in real time see what is happening, who they're speaking to. SLAs are built into systems, so that allows them to have that view of their staff even working from home, anywhere, as long as they've got some sort of a stable internet connection.
So let's talk about the staff and that bird's eye view, because one of the issues that a lot of these call centers are facing right now is, what are your staff really up to? Are they taking extra long breaks, et cetera, et cetera? And, you mentioned this in your article, your call center needs remote working capability now. And this is something that needs to be dealt with, because on one hand, you've got to kind of provide a bit of freedom, but on the other hand, not too much freedom. So how does the new technology handle that?
Look, it's actually pretty easy with new technology, because it's cloud, and there's real-time monitoring systems that is available. So basically what people are doing, it's a little bit more difficult for bigger corporations, because they've invested so much in their legacy equipment, their on-site equipment, and they stuck into long-term contracts, that is very highly costed out. But even with bigger corporations, it's very easy to go for a cloud system that is based on month-to-month billing, and they can make that move, fairly easy, as long as they can get past the fact that they're not going to utilize their on-site equipment, which is a very hard decision for many bigger corporations, because they've invested so much in this. So it's really a mind shift that they need to make. And that becomes a lot easier when you start losing customers, because your customers aren't satisfied. Because at the end of the day, your customers is your bread and butter, and they're the people that are going to take you forward. If you're sitting with no customers and no customer service, your business is doomed.
So tell us about a practical example, because that makes perfect sense. You're in a company, you put a whole lot of physical hardware in there. Now, someone as progressive as Euphoria comes along and says, well, hang on a second, you actually don't need most of that hardware. You can go into the cloud and you can do so much more. That mindset shift is a bit of a chasm. Talk us through that mindset shift. I mean, is this just a call that they just have to make and just say, just do it? Can they use some kind of hybrid approach? How do you get around from clinging onto that hardware that you spent so much time and money on?
Yeah, it's a difficult decision, because we're not talking a couple of $1,000 here. We're talking a couple of million in some instances, where someone has really invested in a proper infrastructure and a big on-site telephony solution, or big service that are on site, whether they're running Asterix, or whether they've got a you know, another big telephony solutions like an Avaya, or so forth. I mean, those systems don't come cheap, which means that if they had to move to Euphoria, it's actually quite an easy move. They don't need any of their current hardware. For instance, if they've got a laptop, we run a software on there for them. We call it our agent workspace. It's got time and attendance. It tracks productive and unproductive breaks that they take. So call center managers and business owners have a full view of what those people are doing. So it's quite an easy shift. And of course, on a month to month, it makes that decision a lot easier, because they don't feel like they are stuck in something that they've never heard of, or they've never used. And at the end of the day, they might be making a mistake. And they very, very soon realize that, they now have a full view of what their staff is doing. Their customers are happy, and they carry on. Especially now where, a lot of businesses are not back to normal. They don't have full, they're not staffed 100% capacity in the office itself, which means at least 50% of their capacity is still working from home. So this just makes it a lot easier for them to actually move to that next point. And a lot of businesses have adopted it over the last year, where they've realized that they were scared for nothing. People are actually very, very productive working from home, and they've kind of lost that insecurity of, how is this going to work for me? And all of the customers that we've brought over the last year, have excelled their businesses, whereas other businesses that were stuck in that old legacy type equipment environment, having only X amount of staff come into the office to handle those calls, they're the companies that are struggling. They're the companies that you kind of get those messages to say, there will be a delay, or, if you need to speak to someone, send an email, because they just don't have the capacity, and they haven't really taken on the new technology and the new way of kind of running your business, and making sure that things are handled the way that it should be, and being efficient in what they do on a daily basis.
So where do you think things are going to go over the next couple of years? Remote working is not going anywhere. Technology is getting better. Tell us about you at Euphoria and the technology that you guys are producing that is just going to really, change the way people do business over the coming decade.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Remote working isn't going anywhere. Most companies have realized, like I said before, that they don't have to be scared of people working at home, because they have those monitoring abilities to make sure that people are actually doing what they are supposed to do on a daily basis. Second of all, you're looking at losing high cost rentals on office spaces that they no longer need anymore. So from a financial perspective, it really makes sense for companies to move to cloud. Now, from a Euphoria perspective, I am so blessed that I'm working with a bunch of really, really innovative people that are constantly thinking of new ways and better ways of improving how people are currently dealing with their day-to-day telephony and call center solution type of issues. There's APIs, there's real-time monitoring, there's wall boards, there's so much that we see on a daily basis that is just improving. Even for myself, I look at our system and the next day there's something completely new, and it's so exciting because technology is moving so fast, and that is what customers want. They want to keep moving forward. They don't want to be stuck with a legacy system that they've got to upgrade every 2 to 3 years because it doesn't have the functionality that they need anymore at those high costs. So I'm really excited to see where this is going, and how people around us and how our customers are benefiting from this improvement and this innovation.
It's really exciting, Marizette, and it's Euphoria is a really great team. How do your pricing structures work? Because the one thing that people are scared about when they move across is, okay, I'm going to move, but is this going to be another couple of million, like you talked about before? Is it going to be another huge investment? And am I going to have to change it again in a year's time?
Yeah, absolutely. Scott, I smile because so many times I sit in front of customers, and when I give them the pricing, they go, "Is this it?" And I go, "Yes." And they go, "But why is it so cheap? Where's the hidden cost?" I always joke with them, and I say to them, "Look, I can give you a more expensive package specially made for you, but you're going to have the same functionality, and you'll benefit from every little bit of a functionality change that we do in the system." But to just give you the black and white, it's a month to month, so there's no contracts whatsoever. Obviously, if you get companies that prefer being, having a more of a long-term relationship, we can talk and we can give you a contract, but standard is month to month. We believe in our system. We believe that we cater for your business, to your needs, and that companies stay with us because they end up having blue blood like me, love Euphoria, love the customer service, love the technology, and all their needs are covered. So month to month, no long-term contracts, with workforce management built into the system, recording built into the system, security built into the system. And we all know, with Poppy becoming a reality now in South Africa, you need to be able to know who's got access, have an audit log on things that change. So it's really fascinating, the technology that Euphoria has built, proudly built, over the last couple of years, and is out to the market.
Proudly made South African system that is on the cutting edge of global technology. Marizette Topham from Euphoria. I will put Marizette's details in the description. Marizette, thank you so much for joining me on scottkundle.com.
Thank you for having me, Scott.